Bobby Hawk.
I'm Elizabeth Placencia.
Hi, I'm Tony Hooper.
I'm Monica Jones.
And I need to get over to our script so I can read what I'm supposed to say. Tale as old as time, song as old as rhyme, Beauty and the Beast. I am sick as a dog. All right. We also talk about the hit series Once Upon a Time. All right. How are you guys doing this week?
Sick.
I'm doing excellent. I'm the only one.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, apparently, right? Oh my god. I've been trying to knock this. I think I was even losing my voice the last time we podcasted, if I'm not mistaken. I've been sick for like a week or two now, and I've been just trying to knock this, and I cannot. But the show must go on. And Elizabeth is with us this week since we were able to postpone a day. So it's so whole crew is in the house this week. And Elizabeth, are you going to be reading the summary for us this week?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, so just to say that this week's rhyming summary is not so much as a rhyme, but an homage to Belle and Rumple's relationship. Okay. So, Season 7, Episode 4. This week is all about Rumple and Belle. Their true love's journey has taken place over 6 seasons. He took her prisoner, they fell in love, they lost each other and found each other. Their love is a tale as old as time, but now time is moving forward. Belle is growing old and Rumple is staying the same. In a beautiful montage, we see them live their lives. Rumple says goodbye to Belle in this week's episode, Beauty.
Okay. Nice. Yes, that was, I think, what I put in one of the Twitter messages or whatever. Like I said, my head's all clouded. Was that I think you're going to be either one of two camps, like all the feels, or, and I hate even saying that phrase. So anyway, or have you just like totally had did you write off from Belle like an episode or in season 4? Are you tired of the whole back and forth, and how do you feel like Belle was just mistreated? And there's definitely different camps. But I've always been, I'm not gonna say Rum Belle because I don't know if I've ever considered myself necessarily a shipper, but I've definitely always been on the side of wanting their relationship to progress. I don't know. I'm sure we'll get into a lot more of that as the episode rolls on. God, almost lost you guys there for a second. All right, so let's just go ahead and move on with this week's episode. So a few years ago in Storybrooke, Belle and Rumple prepare for Gideon's first birthday. As they prepare for the festivities, Rumple tells Belle she's been patient enough. It's time to see the world. Currently, it's Halloween in Hyperion Heights. Weaver is hitting up Tilly for info on Belfry, for which she has none. He has, however, started noticing things in town are a bit off. Elsewhere, Jacinda shows up in hopes of taking Lucy trick-or-treating. Ivy says there's no way Victoria would let that happen, so now Ivy's stuck with her. Meanwhile, Belfry's leaving work and is startled by Tilly jumping out of the back seat. She wants to know how and why Belfry brought them to Hyperion Heights. Victoria answers with a can of mace, and Tilly runs off, leaving her bag behind. After going through the bag, Belfry calls Weaver. Tilly is off her meds and is a danger to herself and others. She wants him to bring her in. Weaver says no. Belfry says she might have to turn over some tapes she might have, and Weaver reluctantly agrees to help. So basically, that brings us past the cold open and into the first commercial, first act break. Okay, so obviously you got the flashback with Rumple and Belle in Storybrooke, and I think that almost kind of sets up a little bit of the storyline question that I've been having, because if before they go off to the realm that they're going to go off to later in the episode, Gideon is 18 and getting ready for Academy, then that would tell me that it's been 18 years since Henry left Storybrooke.
It's a long time.
Right.
I think, but they're in a different realm, and time moves differently.
They didn't go to that realm until after those 18 years had passed.
No. But they were in a castle when Gideon comes in with all those books. Where are they?
I think they're in Rumple's castle in regular Enchanted Forest.
But it looks very different from what it used to look like.
It looked the same to me. I mean, I didn't go back and look at it, but we'll get there.
Like that's what happens when it gets cleaned and everything.
yeah. When it's not just being, when it's not like just a dark and dingy dungeon. But then we also have a lot with Tilly here. She's just starting to act a little off, and she's starting to realize something's weird. I really don't know where I was going with that. And then you got the tapes that just came out of nowhere. Like Belfry just all of a sudden has these tapes.
She mentioned them at the end of last episode.
Did she? I didn't catch that.
It was something to the effect of having recorded where Weaver had been.
Huh.
Something, I forget exactly how she phrased it, but it was along that line.
But it was kind of just in passing, or?
It was, it was a subtle threat.
Right.
Because he was saying, talking about how their goals had aligned before, but now not so much. And she's like, well, I've been keeping track of where you've been going, or something like that.
Right. He seemed pretty surprised by, not to say that, like I said, I didn't catch that at all. That's not to say that it didn't happen, because there's so many things that they cram into these episodes that
Definitely.
Excuse me. But Elizabeth, did you have a point to make on these first?
Well, 2 points, but I mean, the first point was that this is the first time they've had a holiday on the show that I can never think of. I can't think of them ever celebrating Christmas, or they've had birthdays here and there, but they've never done Halloween or Christmas or any of those before.
They've had themed up like that. I think there was the Halloween that was like a zombie episode, but it wasn't like it was Halloween in Storybrooke.
Exactly.
Right. No, I understand what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah. And then my other point was, isn't there patient-doctor confidentiality privilege? Like, how would Belfry know about Tilly's meds? How would she be able to contact the doctor and get that information? In real life, that wouldn't work at all.
No,
so it didn't work for me in this scenario either. Because I'm like, wait, that doesn't work.
I hadn't even thought about that. To me, it was just she's that powerful. She's Belfry. But
to back it up even further. There wasn't a label on the bottle.
Right. Which kind of.
So how did you know any of that to even start?
It was just like we have to show these blue pills so that when you see the blue stuff smeared in that sandwich later, you'll put two and two together. Yeah.
Honestly, I thought it was a moldy sandwich. I'm like, okay, that's not cool.
Oh.
A what?
Like a moldy sandwich, all those spots. I didn't know those were pill marks until it was like, oh wait, these are my pills. Oops. Sandwich just didn't look right.
Do you have anything else to add?
Okay. Well, one thing I'm really liking about this season is that it's just the fact that it's not taking a lot to trigger some people into thinking that, hey, this, you know, where am I? This is not right. You know, like what's going on? I'm liking the fact that it's not taking so long for it to get to that point. Because if you remember in Once Proper, it took even somebody a while to figure out saying, hey, something's not right. I'm not where I'm supposed to be, or something like that. So I like that they're not
like a whole year.
Right, you know, like it's not taking them practically a whole year to say, "Oh, wait a minute, something's not right," you know.
Unless you're Graham, or the first sheriff of Storybrooke, Graham. It took him 5 or 6 episodes, and then they killed him.
Yep, exactly. So many things that could have happened with that character.
Right.
But also, though, I'm also not being so much afraid of Belfry when she's trying to throw her weight as in being the big bad this season. It's like, I'm sorry, but you're not that intimidating, and you're actually kind of hilarious when it comes to you trying to be evil.
You ain't no evil queen.
You're right.
Oh yeah, she's definitely no
queen.
Yeah,
like
she's certainly no dark one.
Clearly, I mean, you know, I don't really get why she's trying to be so evil when she's like not. I don't know, but yeah, that's just what I basically thought about those first few minutes. What did you say, Monica?
What?
Oh no, Monica said something.
Oh, just that she's too big for her britches.
Yeah, basically.
That's a nice way to put it.
That is a very nice way of putting it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say something entirely different, but I can't say it.
Oh, so yeah, that was the end of my point there. But she's funny. The girl is funny.
I'm sorry.
I'm just loving so many lines that this episode that just all over the place. From who is it? Ivy saying, "I'd rather eat carbs."
Yeah, carbs. Yeah.
I would eat carbs every day.
Right? I mean, isn't that normal?
Still waiting on someone to make a Bats in the Belfry joke.
Yeah,
Victoria. I just that's got to be there
like,
somewhere.
Like it's like Belfry Towers. I mean, yeah. Like I've thought the same thing from the.
There's some point.
Yeah, it's not a far leap at all. All right. So Henry tries to get some writing done as Ronnie experiments with cocktails. She asks what has him down. He tells her about finding the graves the other night. Ronnie knows it hurts, but suggests trying to move on. Weaver talks to Rogers about Tilly. Rogers thinks he's taking advantage of her. Weaver says she's his informant and he'll deal with her his way. Years ago, Belle and Rumple chase after Gideon. They stand on a bridge that Belle says is older than time itself. It's no coincidence. Rumple has come here to throw his dagger over the side and be done with the Dark One once and for all. He wants to live out the rest of his days naturally with his family. He tosses the dagger and they embrace, only to have it reappear in his boot. It won't be as easy as he thought, but Belle will help. Either way, she just wants to be with him. Back in the Heights, Ivy stares at her phone as Lucy knocks on doors alone. She switches masks with another kid and ditches Ivy. I don't know. Well, once again, I don't really have any notes in here. Elizabeth, did you have anything to add about this scene?
Well, first off, speaking of Rumple's dagger, I have it.
Very nice. Very nice.
For those of you who aren't watching the podcast, I have a replica. No, not a replica. I have the genuine article.
Does that mean
I have the dagger? I stole it from Rumple.
Do you now have the curse, or do you have, or do you control Rumple? So you just control Rumple, okay?
I control him.
I understand.
I can summon him if I want to right now, but I will not. So.
Oh. He's kind of busy right now, like, don't you think?
Well, I digress. So.
Okay.
So the point I wanted to make right now was about this scene was about Belle's hair. A little bit too much Rogue from X-Men to me, like the character Rogue from X-Men. I was just, he had this one streak right in the front, and I'm like, who are you trying to be, honey? I'm just like,
it is Halloween.
Yeah. Hair doesn't really.
It's Halloween, you know. Past Belle.
And they're trying to age her, but hair. I may not be that old yet, but I've seen other people, and their hair is gray everywhere. It doesn't just appear in one area.
She's magical.
Unless it's not magical. She's not magical. No, hair doesn't do that unless you color it to do that.
It's not a normal occurrence. I've seen it. I've seen like white streaks in people's hair, but no, that definitely was a bit pronounced. Yeah. You aren't the first person I've seen point that out. Tony, you wanted to mention something about the drinks?
Yes. Okay. So first of all, I mean, come on, Henry, dude. Poison apple, and then you kind of put it in there like, say, it needs cinnamon. Can we like just come on out and just say, hey, look, I'm your mother, right? And yes, I'm your son. How about we just break this curse right now? I mean, like, what more proof do you need that, you know, these characters know each other? Like, you know, it kind of just brings you back up to my previous point. With with it saying like, how much proof do you need to know that you guys know each other, something that's happened in the past, and what more proof do you need? I mean, like, I can't say it enough. What more proof do you need? This makes no sense.
I don't know. I think in reference to what you were saying before, I do. Hopefully, I mean, it has so far, so we'll see where it goes from here.
I'm just over here playing with my dagger.
And then also for the fact that, you know, it's kind of, you know, they're kind of making seem like the character Ronnie in particular has, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Has a similar scenario in her backstory. Maybe, you know, maybe we can get her in a sense of the backstory of what she's been through. Maybe I think that would be a very nice little opening of an episode or something like that.
Right. When she was talking to Henry about loss, it definitely felt like she was speaking from experience. Now we know, you know, that Regina definitely has. Daniel, right? The first,
yeah,
and then Robin, of course. So yeah, I mean, you know, obviously we know that Regina speaks from experience, but it seemed in that conversation that Ronnie was speaking from experience. So it definitely seems like there's a story there that hasn't been told yet.
Oh my God! I just had this idea.
Okay.
What if Ronnie's name is a combination of Robin and Daniel? Like Ronnie, Robin, Daniel, Danny. I don't know. It just came to my mind right now. I could be totally wrong, but I just thought of it.
Theories, these wild theories. Bring them on.
That's what podcasts are about. Is crazy theories.
There we go. That's my crackpot theory.
All right, for the week. All right, so.
Oh snap.
So, Weaver filed. Lost my. I hope I did not. That is exact. Lost my page.
Page 3.
No, I got it. I thought I X'd out of it for a second. Okay, so Weaver finds Tilly under the troll bridge. She says she's finally starting to see everyone's stories clearly, and she wants Weaver to see too. At Rumple's library, he and Belle research ways to help him lift the curse. Gideon comes in with news that he's been accepted to Academy. Belle says she may have found something when the Dark One, and the prophecy goes like this. When the Dark One finds eternal love at the sun's brightest set where time stops, the path will appear to where darkness shall rest. Rumple says he knows that place. It's known as the Edge of Realms. In Seattle, Jacinda is serving the Incredibles some chicken when Henry comes by to try some of that moving on that Ronnie suggested. Jacinda sees Ivy run by without Lucy. She tries to leave, but Henry tells her to stay at work. He will help find Lucy. Elsewhere, Tilly guides Weaver through the city looking for something. Weaver offers her a sandwich. She says it tastes funny. That's because he slipped the meds into it. She says there's still time to remember, steers them off road, and bails. Weaver chases after her. Tony, looks like you have something to add for this segment.
Yeah, I have a few questions here. So, first of all, out of all these adventures of the Dark One, they kind of made me wonder, why wasn't this so-called, bail out of the Dark One's role mentioned back when they were making a half of a season committed to the Dark One mythology? I mean, like, they kind of do this to a lot of things, like how they seem to, bring up a major point, to an either big bad or just a character's weakness, in general, like after the fact, which kind of takes over for, how to get rid of the Dark One, like it's a kind of a disease or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, Way Out, I thought that would have been important, to the Dark One's mythology, and also, I hate that, basically with Tilly, I hate that there's a failsafe from the curse, that I'm thinking that Tilly is crazy instead of, it actually being her real self, that she's trying to remember. Like, I guess trying to remember your real self is, a sickness or whatever.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, that was my point.
That kind of goes back to season 1. Sorry, just with Henry, and Regina sending him off to Dr. Hopper.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying, Bobby?
No, I was kind of curious about what was going on with Tilly as well, as far as like, okay, like, what does Victoria know and not know about what's going on? Because she seemed pretty surprised by, like, the whole, the meds thing and just everything about what Tilly brought to her attention. Like, Victoria just seemed, like, surprised. I don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. Like in the first season, Regina pretty much knew everything, from the get-go. Mm-hmm. And I kind of thought that was the same going on with Victoria as well. Now, obviously, she knows. I mean, it's not like she's just Victoria Belfry, because she talked to that witch in the tower on the last episode, or whatever episode it was. So we know that. She is cognizant of what's going on, but how did she not know about Tilly and her meds and everything else like that? Or maybe that's how she knew in the first place. I don't know. It's a little confusing.
It is, but I mean, like, of course, I think the season's getting better with each and every episode, especially with telling of an end or telling of the story of what happened between Belle and Rumple.
And then you had a favorite line from this segment as well, Monica.
Oh, even you, Mr. Weaver, have a story, and it's a thing of beauty.
Yeah, there was. I very much liked the most of the lines that Tilly / well, I guess just Tilly, because we only saw Alice for a moment, but even there was a lot of foreshadowing moments and scenes and lines in this episode.
And her whole speech about them being pieces of puzzle and wearing masks and
from the very first scene where she was like, "You're wearing a mask too," and yes. I do very much like the Tilly character at this point, and that's saying a lot because Wonderland I actually for the most part liked more than just regular Once Upon a Time proper. So there was a lot of baggage being carried, as far as I'm concerned, as bringing a new Alice character onto the show, and it's definitely not the Alice character that we saw in Once Upon a Time in Wonderland, but that's the point.
I really would have thought that she would have been good in Once Proper had they brought over her and Cyrus. I thought that they would have been a good addition, if you ask me.
I think so too, but we got what we got.
Elizabeth? I was just realizing that Tilly is a reflection of Jefferson from season 1 when he kidnapped Snow and Emma and tried to convince Emma that magic is real and that Henry knows what he's talking about, and this is a parallel to that because it's Tilly's trying to get Rumple to realize who he is. So I think that it's kind of the same character, but obviously not. But you know what I mean? Like,
no, I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, I hadn't thought about it.
When Snow and Emma were thrown in that dungeon, wasn't it Rumple that was down there with them, or was it Regina?
When were they thrown in the dungeon?
In season 1, or am I getting storylines crisscrossed?
They were never thrown in a dungeon that I remember.
No. Like Emma was Emma's first time in the Enchanted Forest.
Emma was in a dungeon, yeah, but that wasn't Regina. Regina threw her in the dungeon, but that was when she traveled back in time, and it was Robin's wife. What's her name? That was
Marion.
Right.
It was Marion that was in the cell.
Okay.
No, but I believe you, Monica, when he basically tied Emma up, and I think if I had to remember, I think Mary Margaret was with her during that moment, and they were trying to find a way to get out, of Jefferson's house. So I do remember that.
Yeah,
it was a while ago.
That was season 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely see the similarities there. I hadn't thought about it until now, but I definitely see the similarity.
And it really kind of sucks on how basically when these characters somewhat wake up, and then of course the curse is there to quiet all reason, and making it seem like this life that they are now makes sense more than their original.
All right. Let's move on with the rest of the story here. Belle and Rumple journey to the edge of realms. Rumple tries to make them at home. Belle says she would rather they build it. Together they build a life and home at the edge of existence and wait for the sun to set and the prophecy to be fulfilled. We watch Belle age as Rumple stays young, I guess. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say young. Years go by in the blink of an eye. One day, Belle opens the curtains and falls into Rumple's arms. And just a little brief. As Henry looks for Lucy, he finds Ivy crying on a bench. She confides in him, and they share a moment before continuing the search. All right, so I don't know if you guys noticed, as I was taking notes, I kind of like take the notes in between each act break and everything, or each commercial break, and the someone playing something there.
Sorry, other TV.
So I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought there. So the Belle and Rumple scene. Short, and there was a commercial before and after. It was very short, and so that's why this is so short. And I had to add something even from another scene to the bottom of it. But beyond that, I didn't put notes in here, but Elizabeth stole what I would have said. So I'll just go ahead and let her begin.
Well, I think we're all thinking the same thing, is that this was the Up montage. If anyone's ever seen the movie, the Disney movie or Pixar movie Up, There's a whole montage at the beginning of the movie where they're building their lives together. They build this house. The main character and his wife, they build this house and they fall in love. And, you know, and it's like scene by scene, this whole montage is scene by scene of that montage in the movie.
Yes.
And it's beautiful. But as beautiful as it is, it's also a foreshadowing. And I knew exactly when I saw that montage what was coming. And I was getting choked, and I was getting choked up in that montage, and it was really sad, and it was just beautiful, but it was really sad. Seeing Belle get older.
Okay, so like you said, of course, we're not alone. Everyone saw Up in this. I was actually able to live tweet this episode this week, and along with the episode, and everyone was talking about this. Was straight up from Up. The music even sounded like the music from Up.
Like
the music that played under the montage. I mean, I know liberally and wholeheartedly from Disney properties, but good God. I mean, that was. I mean, the only thing that would have made it more Up is if the house had balloons on it and it floated away after instead of him walking through a portal, he just floated away in the house.
Yeah. All aboard the Phil's train.
But yeah, definitely. I will say that it wasn't great makeup, but it was definitely better than Wish Hook's old makeup.
Definitely. You know what? It seemed like she really aged the way that she will probably age later on in her life. It looks natural.
Yeah, they did a decent job. And now another thing I will add, again, going back to what I mentioned earlier in the podcast, that it seems that it's that along with this scene, and then actually the later scene with Rumple and Gideon, but it seems like 18 roughly years have passed, because Gideon is still roughly that age, because for them, to us no time has passed, but for them years have passed and the sun never set. But now I lost my train of thought of where I was going with that. But yeah, so it's been 18 years. So what, Henry has to be 36 by now?
I wouldn't say 36.
I think it's a different timeline.
Yeah, because when you saw him coming down, out of on his motorcycle, passing Rumple and Gideon.
When he came in, it was almost as if
it was almost as if basically we were seeing him season 7, episode 1, riding with a motorcycle. They just didn't show. No.
Now that you're mentioning that is correct. You're right, but that's not. But that's still, like I said, that's been 18 years. Because that's how long Gideon went from 0 to 18.
I'm just saying that maybe I'm thinking that we're trying to semi-follow along the same timeline as if when Emma, was 28 and Henry was 10 or so at the time, and that's basically how old Henry must be. They're passing when he's passing. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like I said, I've been trying to figure that out. I mean, I think that's something I've pointed out since the beginning of how what is it I'm trying to say? Got lost again. From the beginning, I've been trying to work out exactly how old is Henry, how old was he when he would have had Lucy and all these other things. And now that you even just pointed out what you said about that looked like Henry coming in from then, so then that means 18 years from to then, and then because if I, oh my God, stop trying to make sense of this, Bobby.
You know what? like it's the once timeline. They
Yeah.
still have quote unquote promise us that they'll come out with a timeline eventually. But I don't know.
Don't forget, Adam and Eddie said that they have a.
Believe it when I see it.
Okay. We're just gonna move on because I could sit here until smoke starts pouring out of my ears because my ears. Yeah. All right.
I'm just thinking that before.
And Henry goes by. He's talking to Alice, and Alice says something about strange people here for the ball.
Right, yes, so it has to be, like Tony said, it has to be season 7, episode 1.
That has to be him coming through.
Season 7, episode 1, when Henry leaves Storybrooke.
No, it's when we
It was when he was already in, the new Enchanted Forest.
Right, but that means it was 10 years ago.
Well, that's a good question.
That's right.
At least 10 years ago.
Okay, I quit.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Wait. I think I got it. So basically, when Henry goes to the portal, he's 18, correct?
When he first steps through the portal, he's 18.
Okay. So basically, when Henry's riding down the alleyway or whatever you want to call it, Enchanted Forest Street or whatever, I believe it's like 10 years later or sometime later, Henry, which is probably 28 or so.
But here's the thing, though. Okay,
he still looks kind of young.
He steps through
for Lucy?
Exactly. He steps through the portal when he's 18. Okay.
Correct.
So now, 18 years have passed before Rumple steps through the portal, and we see Henry going to meet Cinderella or whatever. So by that timeline, 18 years have passed between Henry leaving and Henry, finding Cinderella. So that means he's like 36 at that point. That's before Lucy even comes into the picture, and Lucy's like 10 now. So what?
Henry's 50? Cinderella wasn't even pregnant yet.
Henry's 50?
No. like who's to say if Henry was?
Like, guys, let's okay.
I got the play.
This is one last thing.
You mean stop?
Who's to say that Cinderella wasn't even pregnant yet when you saw
God. Monica, did you want to add something, or did you just want us to move on?
Stop!
Okay.
I know better on this timeline stuff, and I still get sucked in. And
all right, let's move on. Tony,
it's still funny though. I'm serious.
Montage, makeup. Oh yeah, okay. We've hit on all of our points for this segment, so let's move on.
Have we?
We hit on everything, so we're good.
Oh my God.
Let's not make any sense of it. Let's just move on.
It's gonna make sense one day. It's gonna make sense one day.
No.
So
John.
Tilly leads Weaver to her place to try and help him remember. She shows him a chipped cup, and we go back to Rumple catching Belle as she falls. He tries to use the dagger to help her, but she stops him. She tells him that she solved the prophecy years ago. It was never about the literal sun. It was about their love. He has to let her die so the prophecy can be fulfilled and they can be together again. Tilly, back in Seattle, Tilly tells Weaver the cup will make him remember. He tells her it's just a cup. She rambles on as her memories start to scramble. Weaver grabs his cuffs as she utters a few nonsense names. Tilly grabs his gun and calls him Rumpelstiltskin just before pulling the trigger. So yeah, a lot going on in those few moments there. Elizabeth, what did you want to add?
Well, I'm just sad. It's just sad seeing Belle die, but then at the same time, the way she closed her eyes didn't look like death to me. It looked like she was just going to sleep.
Yeah,
like
I thought so too.
She went from like eyes open to eyes closed, like that. It was like it wasn't the gradual eyes closing like you normally see on TV. She just
Or there wasn't that like head lean to the. I mean, there was like there was nothing, like you said. It was just kind of like, okay, good night.
Yeah, it was like that, and so I thought that was weird. So it kind of took me out of the moment a little bit, but at the same time, it was still really sad and beautiful. And and she told him the story about how they fell in love, and it was a fitting tribute to their romance. The whole episode.
Tony, you had something to add about Belle dying?
If you ask me, you know what? Look, Belle, rest in peace. I really do believe that she may be, a little bit gone for a moment. But then again, of course, I kind of agree with you there, Liz, with it making it seem like she just went to sleep to preserve what was left, I guess. I mean, who knows? But in my eyes, though, seeing Belle, die kind of made me cry a little bit inside. I'm not even gonna, split the truth. It made me a little bit feel like.
Let it out, Tony. Let it out.
I feel and hope. I liked what they did so much that I feel and hope that this was the end for Belle. Mm-hmm. That obviously maybe when Rumple finally breaks his curse and they then we see her again when he moves on. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I think that should be the end for Belle.
Yeah, I believe so too. I mean, they brought her back for her goodbye episode, and it felt like it was a goodbye.
There was something I did want to add. I forgot to add about the last segment. It was that. Did anyone else think it was kind of cruel what they did to Gideon?
What do you mean?
When they went off to the Edge of Realms? Mm-hmm. Gideon watched them die in an instant. Because to Gideon, that all happened, so
quickly.
Yeah, the years passed by for them in the blink of an eye, just like he said. So it was almost as if by doing what they did, they robbed Gideon of years with them.
Yeah. I mean, I would have thought that maybe with that, I thought that he was living that life with them. I mean,
he was off at Academy.
Well, okay, so does that mean that Academy was outside of that realm?
Well, yeah, because he had decided that before they even talked about going to this Edge of Realm.
So then my question is, how was he able to travel back and forth from that realm?
I don't know. I mean, they never really discussed, the portals are so plentiful at this point. They never really discussed, how and when they got back and forth from that realm. Mm-hmm. They didn't say. All Rumple said was, "Oh, I know where that's at."
Mm-hmm. I mean, if you ask me, I kind of thought that he was growing up, with them, kind of because
he did grow up with them until he was 18.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it just seemed like he was there in the moment, but didn't stay too long to get affected.
But we saw he came in for a moment, mm-hmm. and we saw he was still the same age as he was when they left, wherever they left, and Belle was years older. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, it's like they robbed Gideon of years that he could have spent with his parents.
Sure enough.
And then at this point, no. Well, no, I guess. Yeah, so, I mean, he would still be 18 or whatever now. Mm-hmm. But just in... I'm guessing that was the Enchanted Forest they were in. Like I said, I thought it looked like Rumple's castle, but I'm not sure. They may have just cleaned it up.
Maybe. Who knows? You know how Once Upon a Time never really explains where they are, really.
And then I wanted to add about this scene with the whole Rumpelstiltskin name finally coming out. I think. Do you think that's okay? First, I guess the first question would have to be: do you think he's awake now? Which we'll touch on that obviously later. But yeah, I think obviously, yeah. But that being said, Do you think it was the gun, or do you think it was the name? Because, like we mentioned before, in the first season, it was hearing the word Emma that finally woke him up.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wonder if now this time, hearing the name Rumpelstiltskin is what, because the chipped cup didn't wake him up. Everything else that was happening didn't wake him up. Now obviously, she kind of said Rumpelstiltskin at the same time she pulled the trigger, so it could have been either or. But
and they broke the chip cup. They broke
it. No, that was
the symbolism's gone. No, but
yeah.
I think it had to be the name, because he always, the character Rumpelstiltskin was always fond about names. So
yes, it's a big important thing. Yes.
So I'm thinking that maybe he had a big influence on this other curse, maybe kind of, but didn't quote unquote cast it. Or maybe he kind of did a last minute thing like Zelina
That's what I've been wondering. But like,
if he threw something into the soup.
Yeah, to mix it up, as she would call it.
I don't know. When the season first started, I was wondering if maybe Rumpel had something to do with the curse in order to help Henry. You know how he always is backwards with his logic, but I don't know. After what happened, in the Edge of Realms with Belle and whatnot, I really do feel. I mean, they made a big point of kind of having Belle say over and over again, your heart is pure, you're a good man. Mm-hmm. Even Tilly, you're a good man, you just don't remember it. So I really do feel like they're not having like even Weaver, we've only seen him really do like dark things once, and that was at the beginning of the season with the whole interrogation thing. Mm-hmm. And even then, we don't know what the guy, the circumstances of the context of what that, being tortured by Weaver. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I once again, I hope that they're not just, going back to the well. I hope that, he is redeemed. There is no more, will he, won't he, I think that with this episode, they showed that, like, no, he wants rid of this curse. He wants to be with Belle, and that's all,
I agree. Right. I very well agree. Like, let's not go backwards when we've been backwards. Like, no, I'm sorry.
So many times.
Yeah, like right. We've been forwards and backwards for the past 6 years.
Even though in the speech there, she kind of says like, and I've come back to you more than a few times.
Yeah.
Like she says it kind of like a lovingly thing. But like even the last time, like for a moment there, you wondered if they were going to get back together,
right?
Because for a moment she didn't want anything to do with them, and rightfully so. I mean,
which moment?
Yes,
the very last moment until Gideon turned back into a child. I think I think him turning back into a child, which is what brought her back to him basically.
No, I agree. But yeah, basically that whole half season or whatever it was, like she just wanted nothing to do with him, because even when he tried to do good, he just had twisted logic and could, like it was almost like he was incapable of doing good.
Right.
Because even when he tried, anyway.
Can we all think also that maybe back then when the story was unfolding, can we all agree that this was Henry writing the story on how it's just supposed to be played and not how it's how he wants it to be played? Because he's a new author, and basically all the things that that was happening was towards what was his name again? The previous author.
Isaac.
Isaac, yeah. Can we all say that this was Henry's writing or anything like that?
What's going on right now?
Of what was going on during season 6, like at least after he took up the role of Arthur.
Well, yeah, I mean, because there were even moments, like where he would. I mean, there was that moment where they tried to retcon of at first we were told the whole season was going to be about everyone getting their happy endings, and then it kind of fell to the back burner around the third or fourth episode, and then like 4 episodes later, there was just a line of people getting happy endings from Henry.
He was like the overall happy endings.
You get a happy ending. You get
Everybody, look up on your chairs. There's a happy ending.
All right. It's getting late. Let's move on. All right, last segment here. Gideon and Rumple lay Belle to rest. Gideon offers to take the dagger, but Rumple says he must find the Guardian to lift the burden. He steps through a portal to start his journey and runs into Alice. Back in Seattle, Weaver lays in the hospital and sees a vision of Belle. He comes to find Rogers by his side. Weaver tells him to file a report. A masked man came and shot him. Tilly is free to go. Rogers gives her the news. She apologizes, and they sit down to a game of chess. Lucy, Henry, and Ivy show up at Mr. Cluck's. Ivy tells the 3 of them to finish out the rest of the night. Jacinda asks why he came by earlier, and he says it was nothing. At the hospital, Belfry confronts Weaver about letting Tilly go. She says he must have forgotten about the tapes. He says he remembers quite clearly. Dearie. Henry skips face painting and grabs a drink at Ronnie's. Ivy shows up with a bottle, and the two share another moment. All right, so setting up a lot there. I mean, basically kind of going off of what we just discussed before. I think the Deary line there, just kind of threw it over the edge. He obviously, that's Rumple. That's gold. That's, so yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see where things go from here as far as that's concerned. I don't know. Tony, did you have anything to add? Apparently I wasn't the only one who was excited about the Deary line.
Definitely. Right from there, if that doesn't shout, I'm awake. I don't know what it is.
No, definitely.
I'm really excited to see what partial awakened Rumple is going to do, or all awakened Rumple is going to do now that he's aware of what's going on, or at least coming to the surface, kind of. So I'm very excited. But I really, in turn, do hope that nothing arises between Ivy and Henry, because she was staring just a little bit too long at him.
Yeah, that definitely that last closing moment of the episode definitely did not spell out good things for Henry and Jacinda. I don't know. I could see them. I don't see them making them a couple. I could see them making it some weird attraction thing, but I don't see that. I don't. I hope not. Anyway.
I'm not worried.
You're not worried? I don't know. She looked a little bit too far for me, too close to comfort for me.
And then going back, Monica, did you have something? It looks like you wanted to say something.
I thought it was going to be something of a Snow and Frankenstein date. Like season 1.
That's what I'm hoping it's not.
That it's like just a one-off kind of thing.
That's what
more happens than what we saw.
I don't know. I really hope it's not a situation where like the next episode opens up with like Henry waking up.
Yeah, and Ivy's no. I don't want that either.
I really don't know. Like I've seen.
That's technically his sister-in-law.
Technically,
technically, but like sister-in-law, stepsister, it's like so many parts removed.
You know how bad that family tree is, but
right, yeah, but yeah, we're talking about this.
Henry wouldn't be a normal family tree.
But you know what though? I've seen some comments everywhere out there in the Once Upon a Time fandom that people aren't liking the chemistry between Jacinda and Henry, and it's like, okay, but you guys, the show's The show for them just started. Give it a chance. This chemistry may come up, you know.
Yeah, I have seen that comment as well. Did you have anything to add about Ivy and Henry there, Elizabeth, before I bring up another point?
No, I'm not worried.
You're not worried? You should be worried because it's not right.
I don't know.
Jacinda. Okay.
It's not right. It's not
right. Yeah. I just, like I said, I just hope there isn't like a drunken stupor one night thing that happens. Like I said, I really.
Family. Okay,
hey,
so
Monica brought up the Frankenstein and Snow White one night thing.
And also, let's not forget the evil queen named Graham. He was in the shower. She was picking up her shoes. This is not no kids show anymore. Okay, it lost its innocence 6 years ago.
There's afternoon drinking. There's like day drinking on like every episode. Like
Hello.
if you like, I think my new drinking game is going to be take a shot every time Ronnie takes a shot.
Oh my god!
Offers a shot.
I am right there with you. Or even every time we come to Ronnie's bar.
We had mentioned earlier in
it's the new grannies.
Okay, we had mentioned earlier in the discussion about like foreshadowing and different things. So there were definitely a few things in this segment that I saw. There was obviously when Rumpel was talking to Gideon, and Rumpel said something along the lines of they may not know it yet, or something along the lines of like having to run into the Guardian or meet the Guardian on his path or whatever. And then as soon as he steps out of the portal, there's Alice. He runs into Alice. So that, right then, leads me to believe that, Alice is the Guardian. And then later in the scene, Tilly, that, she's free to go. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. He sits down to join her to a game of chess. And we've already been told, and 2 episodes ago, I think, that Wish Hook enjoyed playing chess with his daughter. So, is this the Guardian? Is this Wish Hook's daughter, or is it both? Maybe.
Yes and yes.
Yep.
Right.
No.
Yes and yes.
Okay, so Tony, that's a big yes on Tony's part. Monica, what do you think?
Both.
Yep. Oh, you think she's both?
Majority rules. Go, Monica.
And Elizabeth, you think neither?
I think neither.
You think it's just too on the nose?
No, I think because Alice didn't seem like she was trapped or encaged, the way Wish Hook describes his daughter and the way he would visit her, she seemed like free as a bird. So she didn't seem like she was tormented by anything. So I'm thinking the witch that Belfry has locked up is Hook's daughter. That's what I think it is.
I thought that for a moment as well. But
I'm sticking to that.
I don't know. Okay, so we got 1 vote. We'll say 1.5 votes because I was kind of leaning that way for a moment as well for the witch as far as Hook's daughter goes. And if that's the case, who do who would you think the Guardian is, or do you have any theories?
No, I don't have any theories about who the Guardian is at this moment.
Okay. All right, so that does it for the summary of and the notes of this week's episode. Let me see. There are a few. Let me get down to the end here. All right, so were there any questions answered this episode? I didn't even write this in the notes. Any questions that we've had asked over the course of the season that's been answered during this episode? Definitively. Not really, huh?
No. Because we're still left with more questions.
Yeah, it seems like a whole lot of as far as that's concerned. So yeah, as far as that's concerned, it seems like a whole lot of running in place.
Yep.
I kind of like it when we're like, we're given a few answers and then left with still more questions. Mm-hmm. But it does seem kind of, even though this was a good episode, now looking, thinking about it in this context, it does seem kind of defeating when nothing gets answered.
Pretty much.
Because like here we are now with questions left for season 7. So like, okay, we still have no idea about about the curse at all, because that episode was about. But even though that's what the episode was about, we have no clue. All we know is that now Rumple probably knows that Belfry has a little more to, like, we really don't know anything. We still don't know who cast the curse. Yeah, we still don't know any of that. Do you think we'll ever touch on Tremaine and Wishhook's shared past? Probably not. I hope so. I hope so, but probably not, because there's so much going on. Look at all these questions that I have. Excuse me. Who is Wishhook's daughter? Mm-hmm. What's Alice's deal? As always,
I think we kind of answered that. I think we
with this episode
we have theories.
Yeah, I think we have like a series of things, like with her trying to get Rumpelstiltskin's memory back, trying to because he obviously entrusted her with getting his memory back.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
she
but why?
She told him to.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, you told me the cup would work.
You're right, exactly. I think that's one of her biggest things.
Who's in Belfry's tower? We didn't even. Yeah, well, I mean, who is she? Like when I looked her up on IMDb last episode, it said she was going to be in like 10 episodes, and now here we are, the next episode. I haven't, there's no hide nor hair of her, and so what's her deal?
I don't really see her motives or deal per se coming out until probably
there's an episode.
I call it like a little bit more, like probably like 2 or 3 more episodes.
I'd say more than that even, because I think it's episode 10 maybe that is actually called Witches.
Mm-hmm.
That I guess will deal with going ahead. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's just a lot of questions, and we're only 3 or 4 episodes in, and 4 episodes in, and it just seems like you were saying earlier that it seemed like things were moving along at a pretty brisk pace, but then as I sit down and examine it, it seems like a whole lot of running in place to me.
Who's to say? It's still early.
Let's move on to this week's arbitrary scale. Number of morphine drips from Weaver's IV.
The reason why I said numbers is because I was counting when you got number.
Oh no, I know. That's what I'm trying to think. 334. 300 out of 334 drops of morphine from Weaver's IV. What do we give this week's episode? Elizabeth.
I was thinking about it. I give it 329.
Fairly high. Okay. I knew you were going to go high. But do I even have to ask you to elaborate as to why, or
what do you think?
Just guess.
Okay. Excuse me. All right, Monica, what do you want to give this week's episode out of 334?
317.
Okay. Do you have? It seems like everyone's got a big this episode was great, but so to change pace, is there anything you didn't like about this episode that
Yeah,
why is it?
Belle. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
The Ivy storyline, I like that we got
In general.
But that Henry thing, I'm like, nope.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like you don't want any of that to happen whatsoever. Yeah.
But I like that we got not just that, we got more dimension to her.
Yes, it was nice to get a little more of just like she's, of just a person staring at her phone and ignoring everybody, and a little more context as to why. That's yes. And Tony, what do you give this week's episode?
Possibly 320 morphine drops.
320. Do you have anything to add as far as like good points, bad points, or
Good points. I'm glad that we got a somewhat close to Belle story. I also loved the Pixar's representation in this episode. You got the Incredibles, and then you have the Up montage. I really love those points.
The double Pixar moments. Yeah,
double Pixar moments. So they get double points.
Yeah, so, all over the place in this episode. Yes,
all over the place. But also one thing that I am agreeing with Monica, that I do not, under any circumstances, I do not want no moments, none between just not
Ivy,
but Ivy and Henry to happen. If that happens, I am so done.
Yeah, I don't want that either, guys. I don't want that either.
I also thought it was cool how they had an Elsa costume, a Snow White costume. Yes. I could have sworn I saw Emma, like an Emma red jacket, like behind the scenes.
Oh, really?
Behind the bench.
Behind the bench,
yes. Jacket, but I thought it was a Captain Hook jacket.
No, it looked like a red jacket to me. It didn't look like a Captain Hook jacket. And then I think there was
Disney Captain Hook, not our Hook.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
It was behind the bench when Ivy was sitting down. It was just somebody walking by in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was a lot of background like Disney homage characters. It was cool. I love it.
Yeah, it was definitely a good like
East. Snow White and asking, "Have you seen this?"
Right? It's like you're asking your grandma.
Of course, he asks his grandma.
I really thought that was good too.
Yeah. Okay. So like my voice is kind of going right now. So I mean, I kind of been explaining exactly what I loved and didn't love about this episode so far. So take all that into consideration. I will give this. I'm gonna stick with you guys. I'm gonna go somewhere like I'll say 323. I really thought this was a really fitting end to like Rumple and Belle's story, or I guess not necessarily end because now he's on the journey to try to be with her again, but or at least to Belle's story at the very least. And I thought it was fitting. It was fitting. But anyway,
and A+.
Definitely. Even even the review that I saw today said that we're going to give this episode A+ or an A. So definitely, I love this.
Yeah, I haven't really seen too many bad things. I mean, other than the timeline that we started pulling our hair out over. It all good things for the most part about this episode. So. Let me see here. News.
Yeah. News.
All right. So not a whole lot of actual news. There was some ratings. It seemed like let me see what was it I have in the notes here. That the ratings held steady at a 0.5 for this week. Yeah, I mean, it's a very small fluctuation, but for the most part, pretty much held steady. Unfortunately, it is down from, I believe, it premiered with like a 0.7. And it held that for the second week and then just started going down after that. Again, we've mentioned this before. This is Fridays. Was the World Series last Friday?
There was a game Was there a game Friday? I know there's a game tomorrow.
There was a game
tomorrow. There was a game yesterday. There were, yeah, there was a game Friday. Yeah, because I watched it. I'm sorry, I just couldn't remember. Yeah, there was a game.
And so I'm sure that has a little to do with the ratings as well. In another few weeks or so, we'll see if the ratings start to tick up at all. But for now, it is what it is. But that being said, that brings us on to feedback, which we actually have some of this week.
Woo! I'm ready. All
right. All right. Let me. You want to start with Facebook, or do you want to start with the voicemail?
It's up to you.
All right. Let me just go ahead and get the voicemail out the way.
Okay.
This is Virgil. I don't know if we've heard from him before, as far as on Twitter or Facebook or not. But here he is. Getting about why he thinks Cinderella is the other sister that Tremaine was referring to.
Hi, I was listening to this week's episode. My name is Virgil, where there was confusion on when Tremaine killed the prince. She said something about her other daughter. She claims, which makes this Tremaine different from the other ones, is that she claims Cinderella as her own. I mean, well, not biologically, but she claims her as a daughter. So that's what she was saying. That my hope was that he would have been interested in Drusilla, but he's interested in you, so I'm killing him. So, and that's also backed up by the fact that, unlike any other incarnation of the Lady Tremaine character, the fact that she was willing to take custody of Cinderella's daughter, no matter how vengeful some of the other incarnations have been, I could not imagine any of the other ones actually taking custody of Cinderella's daughter, because that was always sort of the main reason Lady Tremaine hated Cinderella in folklore, was that she was a single woman who already had two daughters of her own, who suddenly had to take care of a third after her new husband suddenly died. So that's the answer to the question. There is not a third daughter. She claims Cinderella. She looks at her as another daughter, even though she understands that it's her stepdaughter. So I wanted to answer that question.
Yeah, so basically he was saying that that there is no third daughter, or I mean at least no live third daughter, that when Tremaine said that the prince had eyes for her other daughter, was that she was actually referring to Cinderella, because this Tremaine seems to see Cinderella as accept her as a daughter, not just a stepdaughter. And then he goes on to say that this is added to by her taking on Lucy as a step, taking on custody. Yeah, whatever. Taking on custody of Lucy. She's doing that as a favor to Jacinda, or Cinderella, whatever. Obviously she's doing that to torture her. So I don't know if I necessarily agree with every point that Virgil has to make. Do you guys have anything to add?
I don't think so.
All right. All right. So that was the only.
We just appreciate that Virgil sent us.
Oh no!
Feedback. Very appreciative.
Yes, Virgil. If you have anything else to add, or if you want to elaborate on your theory there, please feel free. And anyone else, feel free. Send us feedback at greetingsfromstorybrooke@gmail.com, facebook.com/greetingsfromstorybrooke. But I believe and as far as Facebook goes, we actually have a few feedback that Elizabeth's going to share with us.
Yeah, we had like a conversation going on Facebook. So Bobby, you posted on Friday, so is Alice the Guardian Hook's daughter, or both? Write us with your crazy once upon a time thoughts and theories. So Rachel Nash chimed in first, and she said, I think she's both, Guardian and Hook's daughter. She's fighting the curse, which makes her look crazy. Emma was the savior, so it makes sense that her daughter would be the guardian. I'm liking the season more with every episode. Camilla Maria Concha, sorry if I say that wrong, said, greetings from Storybrooke. Why not? Tilly looks like Emma, and she was pregnant when she left. They could make it happen by some magical way. And then Rachel Nash, this is a conversation. So Rachel Nash goes, if she's Hook's daughter, she would be Emma's. She would be the girl Hook 2.0 is looking for. And greetings, I'm guessing this is you, Bobby, said, isn't Wish Hook looking for his own daughter? I don't think they ever mentioned who her mother would be. And then Camilla chimed in, exactly. Could be Emma and Hook via curse or something. Forget about it. Rachel Nash also said, Emma just told Henry she was pregnant. Alice would be that child, the one Wish Hook said he was looking for. And then I think there's something else if I can find it. So let's see.
Yeah, I believe there was one other person that.
Yes, Vicky Lance.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
She said, "Oops, let me open that. I freely admit that I have never been a fan of Rumple and Belle, but the scenes with them at the house were pretty sweet. I'm glad that their story is over and done with, and we can move on. One thing that extremely confused me was when they had the first time jump and Belle suddenly had only one section of her hair that's completely white, a la Rogue from X-Men. That's what I said. I agreed with her totally. No one's hair changes color like that. And I totally agree with her, and I commented that I agreed with her. And then I think that's all the feedback. If I'm missing someone, I apologize.
No, I think you got it all there, Elizabeth. And like I said, or like everyone here said, it was great to finally have some feedback. We love to hear from you guys. Was it like a week or two left? We actually started a small giveaway to try to promote feedback. You know, we want to hear from you guys. You know, it's just some little odds and ends. Once knickknacks. I've got a Rumpelstiltskin Funko I want to give to you guys. I believe Tony had a graphic novel to pass along, and it's just to share the once love, because we. So once again, hit us up on email, greetingsfromstorybrooke@gmail.com, Twitter @GFStorybrooke, and Facebook is facebook.com/greetingsfromstorybrooke. Speak up, Tony, so they can see that book.
This is the graphic novel that we wanted to add into the giveaway, you guys.
Right, and if all you got to do to enter the giveaway is just, like I said, Facebook, Twitter, email. The voicemail is 424-274-2352. That's 424-274-2352. And guys, I am like about dead. My voice is like so gone right now. Bill, I definitely understand. Yeah, there were some nights in podcasting that Bill, had some rough nights talking, and I'm right there with you, pal. Like I understand how you feel now. So I'm gonna go drink some magic juice. Hopefully, excuse me.
Bring some with you next time.
I know, man. Some honey, some tea, some something. I don't know. But regardless, we want to hear from you guys. Hit us up, and until then, Elizabeth, where can we catch you on online?
Well, big news. I now have Instagram.
Oh, wow.
Woo! I have joined the world. I'm trying to remember. Okay, so I am Queen_Liz_87 on Instagram. I'm trying to remember what I am on Twitter. I can never remember. I think it's Queen_Liz87 on Twitter. And then it's just Elizabeth Placencia on Facebook.
Keep hitting in different underscores, you'll find her.
Yeah.
You'll find her.
It's the only way to get my name there, because if I just do it without an underscore, it doesn't let me. So I have to put that underscore in.
Okay.
Sure.
and just Elizabeth Placencia on Facebook. Monica, how can we reach you on online?
I'm on Twitter at Monica Sedai. That's Sedai.
And Tony, if anyone wanted to reach you, where would they contact you?
You guys can contact me on Twitter at hoops900, HOOPS 900 on the Twitter.
Hawk, HAWKE on Twitter, Bobby Hawk on Facebook. I don't have an Instagram. Maybe that's something I should do. And then, of course, you can, I'm always posting in the Greetings from Storybrooke Twitter and Facebook. That's at GF Storybrooke and Facebook.com/Greetings from Storybrooke. And as always, you can always catch me along with our other three hosts here talking about Once Upon a Time, one of our favorite shows.
The best show.
Guys, the best show in the world.
Until next week. Greetings from Storybrooke.
Yay!
Come on, play it, debut.
Play. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Boo.